most important thing for me is time. Time, you cannot borrow it, it cannot be shared, it cannot be turned back. It is clearly one of the most important resource that a man can have. But that is what we are wasting the most. We take it so much for granted that we don't even understand its importance. I wish I could stop the time. Those dials, if that can be made to rotate slow, it somehow influences the time that moves around us. But imagine if all the people around us start manipulating with their dials and the time dimension is changed for them, probably because one cannot interfere with another's one. And if all the 6 billion people across the globe started doing so, it would be so much a confusion and chaos, and I'm not sure what disaster it can have. Maybe I had another thought today, that when we start working so efficiently, so carefully, that time feels like it's passing slow. It's in a relative context. Anyways, that's not in our hands. What we can do is to use it wisely, not to waste it in any case. At least for me, it's hard to stay idle or sit without doing anything. There are many around me I've seen that do not feel like they're wasting time, but indeed they are. That's hard for me, and that's not a new habit or liking for me. Since childhood, I always had this affinity for using the time. That's why I don't sit into bigger groups which have the tendency of wasting the time. Anyways, I was listening to the TJ Walker's course of storytelling during the presentation. There are different phases. This phase was very much useful, and I can say it was an eye-opener for me. He said there are claims like you can be a keynote speaker and it's so easy and you can earn thousands of dollars sitting at home. It cannot be far from reality. If that would be true, anyone could have done it. Let's say, for example, I'm doing this video recording of myself. Every day I'm trying to improve, I'm seeing myself, evaluating, and things that can be done and things that are unnatural, all are being taken care, and with time I can improve much. But is that all? In that course which I was just talking about, he tells so many aspects of being successful. You start speaking, you can say well, you can indulge the audience for a while, but that's not a that cannot be turned into a business model, or you do not have the tribe, because until and unless you have some expertise within you which is very much different and unique, and you can said to be a truly a master of that field, and you using your communication tool, share with the world your views, your idea to help people. But if you think you can just speak well and spin around 2 or 3 random ideas which you have read in and around the newspaper or the media, and you can come out successful, that's not true. So what this stage is of recording myself is a very very beginning stage. Imagine how far the things can go, how far I have to push myself. This includes finding a niche for myself. What are the key areas that I'm really interested and I can say I'm an expert in? Just interest want to. If I try to peep myself into it, I'm learning magic, so magic can be one of them. I'll write every day about my interest, apart from the thought writing process I have been following these days since around 2 weeks. Yep. And apart from that, I need to see what kind of audience I am targeting, what are my ways of reaching up to them. It can be by YouTube, Instagram, and various other models, but until and unless I'm really expert at those things, I cannot find an audience, and that's take time. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's a false dream if I say that I start speaking so well that people will come running to me and will hand me the check that, hey boy, you were doing so great that we want to hire you. That's not going to happen. So eventually I'll turn my speech every day into something useful, into a typical theme. You can see within me a character that is speaking to you personally, and you can correlate well with him. And it's not just about my growth. Of course, this is the target, but we'll see what mutual exchange can be useful to both of us all, and together we'll grow. So the time frame has to be committed apart from this, because I think magic I've been practicing since 3 years, and it's been a considerable time. 3 years. If had it been systematic, probably if I had a master, I would have been in a position to perform, but that is not the case. And I have been practicing parallelly 2 or 3 themes: coin, billiards, ball magic, as well as cards and card manipulations. So it's all hit and trial for me. I don't know what's going to work best for me in the future, but as of now, I'm planning to put up the time commitment into every of my routines, and say if I'm able to perform within 2 or 3 or 6 months or even a 1 year time, but at least I'm confident I'm achieving, I'm able to perform in front of the public. That makes sense, rather than keep practicing, because if I may keep practicing for my entire life and I'm still not ready. So this time commitment is really meaningful. That's what the exam dates does for us. If we had the chance as a student, you remember, we always used to request to our professor to just give us far more leverage and do not take the test now. But did you ever feel like that in the end, when the exam happened, that this was not the right time? It just happened, you were relaxed, and that's that. Even if it's 3 days time, 2 or 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, you'll always feel the shortage of time. So it's more about what is the deadline for us, how we are going to cope up with it. So the great idea would be to put myself into that time restrictions and see how far better I can fare. So thumbs up and all the best. That's all from my side today. Thank you.